Hello.
Do you like my outfit?
Yes, it's beautiful, wow.
Does it make my ass look good?
Megalopolis is a new big-budget wannabe blockbuster movie where Adam Driver is an eccentric architect with time-stopping abilities who wants to tear down New York to build a new city of the future. And to do that, he must go through the city's resistant mayor. I think. Maybe. It's a bit difficult to summarize this movie, because later, New York is destroyed by a random meteor shower anyway, and the focus then shifts to Adam Driver's cousin, Shia LaBeouf, who wants to assassinate him to get the family's money for some reason. Do it! Because it's all a modern-day retelling of the fall of Rome. Or something. I don't really know. Sometimes it's the modern day, other times it looks like it's the 40s, and other times, I don't know. But oh, boobies! What can be easily summarized though is that the movie became a massive flop. It cost well over $100 million to produce and market, and it was seen by pretty much nobody. Just the director himself and his family that he dragged to the theater with him. And Shia LaBeouf, of course, who I bet loves the movie.
And you're not gonna stop there!
And before diving into the negatives, I want to give credit to the director for being a force of nature. No studio in Hollywood wanted to make or even market this movie, and what did he do? He put up $100 million of his own money to get it made.
We'll do it live!
Half of his production crew quit in the middle of shooting, and what did he do? He kept going anyway.
I'll write it and we'll do it live! Thing sucks!
Sir, you may be out of touch and you may have zero idea how to make a successful movie in the modern day, but damn, I salute your hustle and I'm glad you created something different. That being said, it is very obvious why no studio wanted to invest a single cent in Megalopolis.
I'm just doing a solo.
It's a high-concept blockbuster made for modern audiences that makes all the biggest mistakes that a movie like it can make. In terms of its high-concept elements, in terms of its long list of characters, in terms of its overflowing content, and especially in terms of its ending, which is one of the dumbest ever seen. So definitely stick around for that. Today, let's go through Megalopolis as logically as possible and analyze its biggest modern blockbuster mistakes so that we can know how to avoid them. How to avoid being a flop of the ages. Oh, and also, after getting your feedback last time, I discovered that likes is an overpowered strategy. You guys liked the video and it did really well. So again, if you like my content and want me to keep doing it as it is now, please like this video so I know.
Well, guys, who was here?
Because turns out, it really helps. The first modern blockbuster pitfall here is that the movie introduces a crap ton of high concept elements which muddle the experience and turn it into a laughable meme. In the beginning, for example, it turns out that Adam Driver has a very special ability.
Time, stop!
Stopping time. Which is fine, because usually the audience is willing to accept one extraordinary element when they come into a movie. It's actually useful, because today you need something extraordinary to get the audience to come in the first place. The issue is that the list of specialties doesn't end with time stopping. It goes on and on. There's supernatural visions, like when Adam Driver shows a model of his city to the mayor's daughter who gets transported inside it. There's magical electricity that the new city will be running on. There's levitating memory fragments and flying roses and visions of the past and statues that come alive and people who multiply and even more, including New York itself, which is all over in its era. Sometimes it looks modern and other times less modern and other times just I don't even know.
That's got to be the best gladiator I've ever seen.
The point is that there's so much extraordinary that the result becomes ridiculous, as it was written by a 5-year-old throwing in every idea he can think of.
And then there's a hole and then.
But since that's a very easy point to make, let's dig deeper. because you could argue that the multitude of special elements itself is not an issue. Live Die Repeat has aliens and time travel and exosuits, and it works great. The Avengers has everything from technology to mutation to gods to whatever the hell, and it works great. The real issue with Megalopolis' high concept elements is in the way they lack introduction and connection. The Avengers works because it's a franchise that has normalized the elements one at a time. One movie introduced technology, another introduced human mutation, and so on. And by the time they come together, they're already the universe's norm and thus easier to accept. Whereas here, it's the first movie and the elements keep popping up faster than you can keep up with, which doesn't work. Most audiences today are willing to accept one special thing at a time, or else they start pointing and laughing. The exception is when the special things equal each other enough to feel like one. Live Die Repeat works because it's the alien's world-conquering ability to restart the day that the hero receives, and because the exosuits are a grounded idea that humans had to develop further to compete against the aliens' mobility. It's 3 elements, but they're all connected to the first one. They feel one. Whereas here, everything's disconnected. Time stopping has nothing to do with building a future city. Levitating memory fragments have nothing to do with statues coming alive. People being able to multiply has nothing to do with anything. It's a big mess that seems to connect only to the filmmaker's own negligence.
What is... I don't know what that means. All right, go. I'll write it and we'll do it live. F it.
Those 2 aspects are essential when featuring multiple high-concept elements. But since we're talking about a flop of the ages here, of course, Megalopolis fails in other conceptual areas too. There's the saturation factor. Time stopping is cool, but not that cool when there's all this other cool stuff as well to compete against it. With 100 flavors of ice cream, you grow tired of ice cream. There's the uselessness factor. Time stopping is worth a lot, but not when it's not used. Adam Driver doesn't really stop time to solve problems, not when he gets falsely arrested or even when he gets assassinated. Mainly, he plays with time just for fun when he's on a rooftop looking at things because it looks good on screen.
Wait. Go.
There's the inconsistency factor. The world being an alternate reality is interesting, but not really when it flip-flops back and forth. Is this an alternate reality, or is it a normal reality where sometimes people are obsessed with Roman times? I don't know. And because of that, it kinda just feels dumb.
Whoop-de-doo for the air.
Overall, the problem is that Megalopolis has no logic or respect for its special elements. They appear out of nowhere to amount to nothing, and then they disappear before you can even understand why they existed at all. And the result is just as expected, a meme of a movie that most general audiences can only laugh at. The point is that whatever your specialty is, you need to pick a lane for it. If I tell you that my hero has this magical device that can make him invisible and slow time and turn water to wine and also microwave his food, you're not gonna buy it.
How do you think that looks?
But let's say it's more focused. Like, okay, the problem in this alternate reality city is that it monitors its citizens and collects data on them, from addresses to contact information to whatever else. And to fight back, the hero has developed this device that shields him from all that. That's consistent and logical enough to seem real, right? And that's because it is real. In the real world, your sensitive data is being collected by apps and websites and then sold to third parties who use it to profile you for ads and spam and scams and sometimes even identity theft. And the device stopping that is Incogni, a subscription service that acts on your behalf to continuously wipe your data from all data brokers, which you could monitor in real time.
You are a very bad boy.
So to free your inbox from spam and marketing and to protect your online identity, check out Incogni's annual plan with code FILMENTO for 60% off and a 30-day money-back guarantee. The second modern blockbuster pitfall here is that characters lack clearly motivated direction, which leaves their journeys aimlessly confusing. As I explained before, there is an understandable journey at the core of Megalopolis. Adam Driver is an eccentric architect from a rich family who wants to demolish New York to build a city of the future in its place. And in the way stands the mayor who tries to sabotage his plan. There's a goal and an obstacle. The journey is understandable enough for everyone to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But as I mentioned, there's a whole lot more characters and stuff to complicate that journey. First of all, there's a sudden meteor shower that destroys New York, which means that it has to be rebuilt anyway. And so then, what was the point of all the push and pull over tearing down the city to build a new one? A new one must be built now. There is no obstacle or journey there anymore.
What about those standing in your way, who like it the way it is?
Like your father?
Second of all, there's the sudden shift of focus onto Adam Driver's cousin, Shia LaBeouf. Basically, he's jealous of Adam Driver for some reason, and he wants the family money for some reason, and he tries to assassinate Adam Driver and turn the city against him. And so then, what was the point of the earlier stuff? Why build the mayor up to be the main antagonistic force if he isn't? Why make Adam Driver's journey be about building a city if he doesn't? The whole building part is forgotten and the focus is now on family money, which has never been a relevant obstacle or point of contention before. We've never even seen Adam Driver use money.
Someone froze our accounts. Someone's messing up.
Third of all, the mayor has a daughter who gets close to Adam Driver and eventually becomes his love interest. But aside from the already confusing concept side where she also can now control time somehow, the reasoning behind the love story is very vague, so I don't know. There's way more stuff to explain, but to prevent my point from getting just as complicated, let's just put it like this. The main journeys of Megalopolis and its characters become way too convoluted to fully understand, which does not work with general audiences of today. The moment they become confused, you've lost them to their phones.
You burned my house to the ground! My family's dead! What do I do?
And the reason behind this comes down to the three central parts of any story which I've talked about before. What, why, when. As long as those parts are clear, the audience will not get lost. Infinity War may be a big mess of planets and characters,
he's from space. He came here to steal a necklace from a wizard.
but the journeys always remain simple. The Avengers have to stop Thanos from getting the stones because he will use them to snap away half of life, and they have to do it now because Thanos is on the move. And for Thanos' journey, it's the opposite. Whereas in Megalopolis, most of those parts are missing in all journeys. Adam Driver wants to build a new city, but we don't really know why other than because he wants to, or when is the deadline for building it. The mayor wants to stop Adam Driver, but we don't really know why other than because he dislikes him, or when is the deadline for stopping the building. The mayor's daughter gets involved because, again, I don't really know. And I don't really care. Look at this funny TikTok.
Hey, somebody get Shrek out of here! That's what you doing! Hey, Shrek's still in there, car! Hey, get him out of here!
And just for the sake of it, let's see what happens if we insert all the required parts into these journeys. Adam Driver has to build an impressive city of the future because it's the only way for him to be noticed by his rich, distant family, and he needs to do it before the death of his sick uncle, who is his main backer. The mayor has to bury Adam Driver's city project because it's the only way for him to win the re-election votes of the common people, and he has until election day to prove himself. The mayor's daughter has to get close to Adam Driver because she's a reporter looking for a damaging scoop on him to stop the upcoming demolition of a poor neighborhood. These are just quick examples, but notice how much more clear they make the journeys and how much easier it becomes to stay on board. As long as the goal and the stakes and the deadline of every individual journey is known, confusion is kept to a minimum. And the moment that the modern general audience gets confused, it's game over. The third modern blockbuster pitfall here is that scenes lack a sense of purpose and progression, which makes the experience quite boring. A good example is an early press conference scene about the future of New York. In a narrative sense, it is a very mandatory scene because it establishes how the mayor wants to maintain the status quo of the city and how Adam Driver wants to rebuild the city as something new. And also because it introduces many characters like the rich uncle and the crazy cousin and whatever else.
When you run concrete,
But at the same time, the scene doesn't really change the story or advance it to the next step. It's not like this conference is vital to deciding who gets what kind of permits or something. No, the mayor just talks about his vision, and then Adam Driver shows up to talk about his vision, which he's already entitled to.
My jurisdiction covers parks and fairs.
And then the mayor gets angry in front of press, while other characters are just kind of there to watch. In this scene, things are already what they are, and so most of the scene is just about repeating those pre-existing conditions and information.
As chairman of the design authority, my jurisdiction covers parks and fairs. Please, we've already issued the necessary bonds to develop this site. My jurisdiction covers parks and fairs, and
this is what most of the scenes in the movie are like. They're not proper scenes about overcoming obstacles to progress the story, but more so random moments of information and images. In the first scene, Adam Driver is on a rooftop to use his ability to stop time.
Time, stop!
Which is mandatory to establish that he can do it. But nothing is done with that. He's just on a rooftop to stop time, and that's it. Moving on to images of Soviet satellites. That's what happens again and again. Adam Driver stands on rooftops to use whatever time spyglasses, and none of it ever means anything. None of it advances his mission to build the new city.
What the f am I doing here?
In another scene after the press conference, the daughter goes to meet Adam Driver to take away the hate mail she wrote about him before he sees it, which is a good basis for a scene, but again pointless because he's already seen it.
unfortunately, I have already read it.
And so now, the purpose of the scene is gone, and instead, they just kinda hang out to talk about stuff.
Intellectual vigor on the subject of jellyfish. Their mesoglea material is
I mean, this movie is about building a city, yet there's not a single scene about building a city. There are no scenes where the heroes have to get permits or clear out neighborhoods or get the support of the people or get funding or anything like that. There's just talk about building a city, and then at the end, there's the city. 90% of the actual content in the middle is about something else.
Unlawful intercourse with a minor statutory rape. The city's virgin sweetheart is actually 23 years old.
It's a bit difficult to explain this without going through all the scenes, but perhaps the best example of my point is the wedding sequence at the midpoint. Basically, the uncle is getting married to Adam Driver's friend, and there's a whole lot of festivities. Chariot games, a circus presentation, a Taylor Swift concert, and even an acid trip that Adam Driver goes on for fun, all of which lasts for over 20 minutes. And during those 20 minutes, nothing is really achieved. Yes, there's a fundraiser or something, but it's never clear whether the money will go to the construction or if it's even required. Yes, there's a moment where Shia LaBeouf ruins Adam Driver's name, but it leads to nothing, so I don't even know why it's there. As a whole, it's 20 minutes of images and events where maybe 1 minute actually matters. And imagine the difference if there was purpose always there. What if Adam Driver is meeting an a-hole investor who he needs money from, and in order to please him, he takes acid with him? You get the same scene, but with purpose, to get money from the investor. The event would achieve something, it would progress the story to the next step. It's a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in how the scene feels. I guess you can see the movie for more examples if you're brave, but my point is that we live in an age of ADHD. It's not the 70s anymore. You can't just show cool images and call it a day. General audiences need to feel constant momentum and progression, which can happen only when they understand the purpose of the scene and where it's taking them. And Megalopolis is the opposite of that. It's a movie that opens with talks about building a city, and then for 2 hours all other kinds of stuff happens, and then in the last scene the city has been built. What the f***? In big movies like this, you need purpose, you need direction, you need logic in your specialty. Without that, you're done. You are destined to fail, and everyone knows. Everyone except, I guess, you know.
We'll do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Stupid Megalopolis.